Hello, and welcome to Me, My Friends, and I, the podcast where unlicensed adults give unsolicited advice with your host and new friend, Brittany. So what kind of sound do you make?
Brittany!
Woman
We're not going to talk about this.
Okay, fine.
Okay. Some days I will just take every spice from the cabinet and I just put it on there and just see what I'm getting.
And so that's what you mean by razzle dazzle?
Yes, that's the razzle dazzle.
Okay.
I've done lemon pepper situation before.
Okay, like this, like the spice that you just
Yeah.
the one that's already made. You know, I saw people
Absolutely.
making lemon pepper seasoning from scratch.
What?
And I just feel like certain things just ought to be just bought.
How are they making it from scratch?
You don't really want to know the answer to that. Like, they really are, as far as I'm concerned, growing the lemons.
Wow.
That's a lie. They're not going.
Okay.
They're not growing the lemons, but like they're doing everything and a half. Like they're growing the lemon. They're not growing lemons. They're squeezing them, simmering things down, like adding all these other extra. It should be lemon and pepper.
Yeah. But I will say this whole idea about making the lemon pepper seasoning sounds awful.
Triggering.
Sounds terrible.
Yeah.
Like, who would take the time to do this?
I would do it.
Would you?
I would fucking do it.
Oh
I
my
would do it.
gosh.
I would do
I
it.
just don't have the desire. I want to eat. I'm not trying to take the time to make the spice. I just want the spice to be made. Lemon pepper me down. Lemon pepper me, please.
Yes. I think the first time that you and I really, bonded over lemon pepper was for what? The wangs.
The wings.
The wangs.
Because what do we do?
We wang.
What do we do? We wang.
You remember that video? Sometimes I think about saying like, "Oh, do you remember that thing?" And truly, I don't know if it's because of this age or like generation, blah blah blah. But I want to say, remember when? And there's a small fear in the back of my chest that says the person you're about to tell that to doesn't have a clue.
Oh, yes.
You know, bayang.
Yeah.
Remember the bayang? Remember that thing? It was viral. It went viral.
I don't know.
I couldn't even tell you the real, I don't even know if I've seen the real video, but the lady's like, something about that bayang.
I don't remember it.
You don't even know. Cultured you're not.
And I just, oh my gosh, and I was thinking I wouldn't be the one to perpetuate this. Like, to make you feel this way. Like, oh, I'm going to share this memory and this person isn't going to know.
No, it's fine. It's fine. That's going to happen to us. Like, my cousin does this, and I was messing with her on the phone earlier. And she was like, she'll sing a song. And she's like, remember that song? I'd be like, babes, I'm too young.
Yeah.
I wasn't even born. I wasn't even alive. I wasn't even alive at the time. She's like, no, you would know. I'm like, babes, I'm too supple.
Yeah.
I'm too young and supple to know.
Still wet behind the ears, as the old folks say. That's one to
I was
add.
going to say you always have these little sayings. Which one is a nice one that I like? Which one's another one?
Wait, I just said it the other day. Oh, you like running amok?
I don't know why I like that so much, but I do.
Running amok.
These kids is running
amok. Yes.
Yes.
But there's another one. There's another one that I just said when you were like, okay, that's it. There's another one. I can't remember.
Yeah, neither can I. I don't, me. Which is odd because your memory is like, wait, obviously we've started. You know that, right? Don't freeze up now.
Don't worry. I'm not. Okay. Okay. We're on.
Be careful. Yes, we're on.
We're
officially.
recording. Okay.
It's obvious that you're a princess, and I need to introduce you. You are the lady of the hour. Ladies and gentlemen, drum roll, please. Alison. We have Alison in the house. And I'm really happy that she's here.
Thank you.
You had a long day.
Oh, it's...
Okay?
Yeah.
You had a long day. And I'm glad you're here, and thank you for pushing through. I don't know where you get the energy.
It's because I love you.
If only love was enough. Like, I think in friendships maybe, but like in other ways it might not be enough.
It might not be enough.
Like when you say it's because I love you, I'm like, yeah, I can work with that.
Yeah.
But if somebody else was like a romantic whatever, I'd be like, you're gonna have to do more.
Right. You're gonna
more.
have to do something. Else. It's not enough.
It's not enough.
Yeah. Sometimes not. My mom always says that.
Yeah.
She's always like, love doesn't pay bills. You know, Shell. She's just...
I think that's like, that's giving like, should have been a Destiny's Child song.
Right.
It should have been because you know they've got "Can You Pay My Bills?"
Pay My Bills?
That's like a missed opportunity for sure.
I know. She
Love
missed her
Can-
calling.
Right?
She could have been a songwriter.
Stop. Brittany could have. She can still do
She
that.
can still do it. She can still do it.
In the event she wants to pivot.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's completely fine.
Yeah.
I'm keeping a track on the time. Leave me alone.
Okay.
So I want to get into the topic of the hour.
Okay.
Which again, everyone should know. The theme of the month is how black, pitch black. And what is this? What is this sound?
Just brings up things for me.
And that's what I want. That's,
Okay.
you know, trigger. I'm trying to trigger people.
Yes.
But where did your mind go initially when I told you about like the theme? Like, what's the first thing that you thought of?
The first thing I thought of is just like emotionally, my emotional state lately has just felt really dark. I've been in a dark place, and like for me, people don't recognize that that's like a place that I go sometimes because I present as this happy go lucky person, but like everybody has moments, seasons that just feel dark, and I'm kind of like in that. But it's things are starting to take a turn for the better, thankfully. But it's been a struggle.
Yeah, I think unless anybody really like knows you very well and can like really like pinpoint like when there's a shift in your energy, it would be hard to tell because you really are so happy. Like, and I mean, you know the nickname Bubbles. Like it's there for a reason. It's super fitting because like you're always very energetic and like truly, I don't know. I'm not gonna say I don't know why you're here today, but like I know why you're here. You're very supportive. And you bring the energy no matter what. I've seen you go to birthdays. I've seen you outside of these girls' birthdays. And it's late. We're all tired. We want to go home, cut the cake. Let's go.
Yes.
And you be sitting up in there taking pictures and smiling and posing and all that stuff.
Trying, you know.
With a great attitude.
Yeah.
I think like it's amazing. It's amazing and it's infectious. I wish it was a little more infectious so much so that people would adopt it, but.
Thank you.
It's true.
I mean, yeah. Sometimes it's just like overextending.
Ooh.
Which is hard, you know. But like I do that a lot with work stuff.
Yes.
But I definitely try to show up for my friends.
Yeah.
This is not overextending.
Yeah.
But I do have a problem with that.
I'm glad you brought it up so I didn't have to.
Yes, but can I tell you, I set a boundary yesterday.
Go off. You know, you don't got to use names, but go off.
Yes, I will actually, I can.
Go for it,
She
babes.
wouldn't mind. Okay, so, you know how I've told you, like, my therapist, when I was in Houston, she would ask me questions about, like, okay, well, tell me why people like you. Right? Like, list all of the reasons people like you. And so I would say things like, oh, well, I'm kind or thoughtful, funny, smart,
kind, yeah.
you know, like those things. And then she would say, okay, so are any of those reasons because you say yes to everything?
Ouch. My
Oh,
chest,
she would be going for the jugular, you know, like that. Knows how to get you. And so, like, I take that with me all the time. And so, like, she was trying to help me establish better boundaries because I'm a terrible boundary setter. I'm so bad about it. But yesterday, I didn't have it in me. It was, like, my second night in a row going to bed after 2 a.m. because all of this work shit.
I'm sorry.
Like,
That's a pause moment right there. For the simple fact that you can sit here and say, I didn't have it in me, I think is a far place from where you once were.
that's something in itself.
The fact that you can even say, I didn't have it in me, Your Honor.
Have it in me.
Yeah. You can keep going. You go.
Yeah. It's so Mary sends me a text and she's like, hey, can you talk tonight? I want to chat about your weekend and visiting New York before you leave. And I just said, and everybody's going to think this is so simple.
It doesn't matter.
But it doesn't matter. This is my personal journey, okay? So no judgment, listeners. This is my journey. But I told her, can we talk tomorrow? I'm going to get home late. Because I was. Like, I had left the office. It was like 7 o'clock because running my mouth with 2 people in there, you know, about all the things. So I asked her, you know, like, are you free to chat tomorrow? And said, I'm getting home late tonight.
And what was her response?
Immediately, sure! Exclamation mark.
And
have a good night. Like, you know,
see,
and it's just those little tiny things. And it just lets you know that, like, it's okay. That people aren't gonna, even if they don't take something the way that you intend for them to take it. Like, if she would have not responded that way, that's none of my business. I've, like, put out what I've needed to say.
Yeah.
And that's all I can do is explain, you know, like, where I am. This is what I need right now. This is what I can do. I can't talk tonight, but I can talk tomorrow.
Yeah.
Does that work?
And I would say that's more than half the battle is like fighting yourself to understand that, like, whatever you might be projecting probably isn't real.
Yeah.
You know, you've heard that thing like, oh, your thoughts aren't real. To a degree, this shit ain't really real.
It's not really real.
It's really not. And like, I think, you know, since the dawn of time, we've just all been like trying to figure things out based on like patterns and like pattern recognition and all these things. I sound like I know what I'm talking about, but I don't know what I'm talking about. But
I mean, you do.
It sounds right, right? It sounds right. So from the dawn of time, we're doing like pattern recognition and all these other things. And so we think we're reading, like, just, I mean, maybe in the past you've tried to read the situation with her.
Yeah.
Without actually letting it flow properly with your needs being met. Like, I too have struggled in ways, truly struggled. I don't like challenged because that makes it sound nicer, but no, your girl was struggling.
I feel you.
I was struggling.com to be able to understand what like my needs were.
Yeah.
And not feel bad about it.
Yeah, right?
I promise you, I still feel bad about having expectations or forget an expectation or like having a want that might not benefit someone else in the short term. That's a problem.
It's a problem.
Yeah.
Yes, because it's like you're always concerned about others, right? And you have to give that same level of attention to yourself too and care with like as far as your needs and what is going to feed you. Yeah.
I would even, and this is where it gets nasty, is because I've also been the person, while being the people pleaser, I've also been like spreading this narrative that like, you can't pour from an empty cup. You've got to fill your cup. And yet
your cup is
my
dry.
cup, okay?
It's dry.
Sahara Desert. Okay.
Where is it? There's nothing.
Okay. That part, powder. So
Yeah.
I'm going on a little tangent, but like
Do it.
that, all that makes me think about is therapy. Follow me.
Yeah.
It's trending. It's trending. Mental health is trending. The idea of getting help for your mental is trending, and folks will go out there and they'll be like, oh yeah, I have a therapist. And God forbid you ask them, how often do you see them?
Oh, yeah.
The person might be like, oh, you know, I'm making this sound like a man, but it doesn't actually have to be.
But it probably is.
But it probably is.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to.
Let's be honest. Here.
It doesn't have to be. But this person, you know, put the voice how you want to, but like, oh, yeah, actually, like, I started seeing a therapist. And it was fine. Like, I didn't need to anymore. We saw him a couple times.
No.
That's not how that works.
That's not how that works.
That's not how that works.
That does sound like a man.
It does. And it probably is. But it's not.
It sounds like a man I know.
Shall we?
It sounds like a man who I once was in a relationship with.
Okay.
Whose name we don't need to mention.
That's totally fine.
But, yeah.
So like you were in this relationship for like several years.
Several years.
And at what point? So you know, because that's a good mention.
Yeah.
But I think what it has a lot to do with is, go with me.
Yeah.
There is a gap between the things that we're doing, the way that we are, and the things that we want. And I don't want to be like any other person, be like, social media, that's the problem. But that instant gratification bullcrap.
Yes.
It's running us ragged.
Yes.
And so we think that we have things that we don't.
And it's creating unrealistic expectations also.
Yeah. And it's creating like unrealistic, what is the word? Creditation? That's not the word. Accomplishments.
Okay, so like, yeah, we're seeing these things and people are like,
it's like fake
appearing that they're putting on like facades. Is this what we're
but
saying?
it's directly related to like accomplishment, because it could not be anyone else's business, right? Like even a therapy conversation, like sure, you might externally say like, oh yeah, I see a therapist, but you could also be telling yourself that lie that like, yeah, I see a therapist. Babes, if you see the therapist once a year, it's not the same.
Yeah.
It's not the same, and you don't get to it's a disrespect.
Yes. And that's not seeing a therapist. You saw a therapist. This is what you did.
But I could argue for it being like, yeah, I see a therapist once a year. Could you imagine?
I mean, I just can't subscribe to that.
No, that's probably like one of those like online therapists. Like, the ones that like you could just do in the chat, like the chat GPT of therapists.
Yeah, and like how long is that session? You can't get that in 50 minutes. I'm just thinking about like, what? A whole year?
No. Do you think therapy is for everybody?
It should be.
I don't know about that, Allison.
I think the world would be a much better place.
Do you really think so?
I think that if people had an outlet to process trauma, and like if they were able to recognize where some of these things were coming from, like it would break down barriers in relationships, because like so many people are just walking around carrying this trauma and they don't know like what it's rooted in, and they can't like fully really address, you know what I mean? And
I get it.
And I don't know that necessarily a therapist, because you may be able to discover that by a conversation with a friend or something. I don't know. But I think it could be helpful. I think that if everyone had a therapist, the world would be a better place, because we would be more self-aware. We would be, more in tune with like us, ourselves, one another. And I think we'd have more empathy and just be able to communicate better. And like, I know like when I started therapy, I learned that, okay, my thoughts weren't irrational. Like I had language for how I was feeling, and I understood like the root of like, oh, this isn't actually me reacting right now. This is like this unhealed little 5-year-old girl in me who's hurt, and like, what does she need?
You know what? I tried so hard to like dismiss that thing right there. Like that's like something that everyone, like I think a lot of therapists kind of carry with them, like, oh, you're talking to your inner child. Like there's a lot of books and stuff on this. Yeah. And I tried for so long to dismiss that entire thought, because I was so over it. I was just like, this shit happened. Like, can we just move on? But the more that I talk to my therapist now, I'm just like, dog, she'd be like, oh, what part is this? I'm like, ask me about one of these fucking parts. One more. You ask me about one of these parts. But every time we do it, it helps. It helps. And I'm like, who knew that I was reacting this way because this is a very real moment, that I'm reacting this way because of me being like single digits year old, standing on a chair, washing dishes as my, bios sat in the kitchen talking to my godfather, like, and then I broke a dish. Like, who knew that level of embarrassment would actually inform how I behaved, 10 years, like, what is this, 12? I'm 19. So, how many... Why would you?
I'm sorry.
You're not about to do that right now. Moving on.
That was good. That was good.
And true. Okay.
Yes, and true.
So who knew that moment of me breaking a dish, single digits, in front of these people in my home would result in me behaving these ways in my workplace?
Yes.
And it's annoying. It's annoying to have to think. And you know what I don't like? And this is why I ask, why is therapy really for everyone? Is because I've seen folks be good without it, whatever good means, functioning, happy, seeming. So I believe you. You can talk to friends and get through, but like I don't know if it's actually for everyone.
And you're right, because I just had a thought, because you also have to be willing to do the work, because it's two
work.
ways, you know, like it's work, and you have to be. I think a lot of people don't want to get uncomfortable. They don't want to like feel things, and it's. In order for it to work, you have to be an active participant. And I think that some people aren't ready for that. They don't want to do that.
And then even more so, and like there's so many of these stories, but like you even have the people who want to be comfortable. I mean, you want to have the people who want to be comfort in their discomfort. They want to be comfortable in their discomfort. So it's not even enough. So yes, go do the work, but is it the right kind of work?
Yeah.
And so like, yeah, it's a partnership with you and your therapist, but you're only as good as what you bring to the table or what you bring into those conversations.
Right.
Because dog, like
they don't want to get into it. And you gotta
only as good.
Get in there. Yeah.
Only as good. So like it is trending when someone's like, the therapist, but are you doing the work though?
Right.
Why are you bringing up the same thing? Come on.
Same things.
Don't think about it too much. It's okay.
Yeah.
So mental health is immediately where your head went when it came to
Immediately.
How Black, Pitch Black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was like I was very much in a dark place. I just kind of felt like I was not myself.
Yeah.
And, you know, I wasn't diagnosed with depression, but I definitely felt like I could have been headed in that direction, because I would just have days where I felt defeated, like, you know those questionnaires where they ask you, and how many days in the last like month have you felt hopeless? And like I was actually able to answer that, because it's usually like, oh, none. I've never felt hopeless. But I did, you know, was feeling like, oh yeah, it's maybe like 5 days this month where I just felt like, oh, nothing's gonna get better.
Yeah.
How many times have you just like, I mean, I would just like cry. Like one night I just sat on my couch and I just bawled my eyes out uncontrollably. I was like inconsolable for like 30 minutes. It was like bad. And I was hyperventilating. I was, you know, like I could not catch my breath. And it was not good.
And you know, you came to realize what was triggering you, or like what like did you figure that out?
Yeah, it just was a sense of overwhelm, because
you were saying yes to everything. Sorry.
Well,
oh my God. Sorry.
Well, not even, but just because of like everything that was going on with my health.
Well, yeah, okay, I forgot the. Yeah,
And just feeling like, what have I done?
Sure.
You know, like, what's happening here?
Yeah.
Like, what does this mean for me and my future? You know, like, I don't know. I was like doing a lot of blaming.
Yeah, I know.
Myself. Yeah, all of that is just compounding. And it wasn't a good place to be in. And yeah, I just wake up exhausted no matter what.
So thank you for letting us in.
Yes.
That's that. And I was like near you, like around that time. Obviously, I'm near you now and all that. But like that was so. It was also hard to see this like ray of sunshine that I know you to be, not be that. And this is obviously no pressure to like always be that, because you don't need to be that all the time for yourself or for anybody else, right? But like it was just so hard to see, like, because I think that fuels you low key. Like I think it's just like you're like a renewable resource. You are the sun. And so like not seeing you in that way is like, it was just absolutely heartbreaking. But I'm super, super glad that like it seems like you're mostly on the other side of it.
I'm hoping so. I'm feeling better about things.
So sweet.
I really am. And yeah, I have a job, you know.
Girl. Girl.
I'll just say that. So
Yeah,
like,
we are
things
all
are
blessed.
employed for the foreseeable future.
For the foreseeable future. Because we can't only go but so far.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's that. I mean, there's a lot to be thankful for. So, yeah.
It's so hard to do. So when I was like much younger than I already am right now.
Yes.
I have to stop joking about that because I have a very particular understanding of age. Like, I don't like how it's represented in any kind of media or even in conversations.
Yeah.
So I wonder when I'll stop joking about it, but I'm not going to stop now.
Don't stop now. Don't stop now.
Won't stop. But, where was I going to go with that? The age thing?
Yeah, the age thing.
Okay, when I was a little bit younger than I am right now, I used to be so sus about this. There's two things.
Okay.
Depression and being grateful. I used to be so angry. I think I may have mentioned this in like a previous episode, but I used to be so angry.
Yeah.
Just like a little angry person.
Oh.
Can you imagine?
I can't imagine
That's
that.
what I'm saying, dog. But I used to be so angry, and it was like hard to connect all these things, blah blah blah. And I would, don't nobody hack my phone because the amount of like historical evidence of me asking Google questions that you should be asking your bio mothers and fathers or like, a parental figure is absurd. The level of raising that Google did with me,
wow,
absurdity. And I think I still kind of do it to this day. You be going in and what's nice is that like you don't feel alone because you type it in and somebody already searched it.
It's the first thing that comes up. It's
I won't even get through halfway through and somebody already searched it.
Right.
So I in fact am not alone.
Never. You're never alone.
So when I would
on the Google, it's
I would
like
look up the things and about like, how to be happier.
Yeah.
Shit like that.
Oh.
And like the 12 lists, and I would just keep reading list after list after list, and I wouldn't find relief. Yeah, obviously this was a different time, but like that's the type of time I was on.
Yeah. And you were young. This was like, you were younger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
you go ahead.
Well, so I want to ask, at what point how did this shift? So instead of like Google, what tools did you start to implement to find those little nuggets of happiness and such?
The way I remember it is, and I feel like I mentioned this in like the teaser or like the first episode, but like it's kind of
It's okay.
Yeah, I know it's okay, Harrison.
Okay.
The reason why Allison is telling me it's okay, I'm not going to say that.
Okay.
So, it was because of the people that I met.
Oh, yes.
Yes. It's the people that I met at a particular age, and they helped me understand joy.
Yeah.
And push came to shove, and I realized that, like, I have to feel something.
Yeah.
Because it went from like anger to just like, how do I just bottle it? And so what I was considering to be like, oh, I'm not feeling anything, was actually just anger with like some layer of concrete on top. But these people, they were like making me, this was like primarily, I would say the strongest moment is in college, but it happened in high school a bit, but the strongest moments were in college. And I'm like, I've got this anger, layer of concrete right on top. And these people, they were just like chipping at it. And like, they were making me happy. They were just doing these things that were just bringing me joy. And I was so resistant to like feeling it. I was so resistant to feeling it. And like, eventually push came to shove. And I'm like, damn, if I'm going to feel something, okay, I got to break out, kick the shackles off.
Yeah.
Break out these chains. And then that's kind of like what kind of did it. It was the relationships that it's people that I met at college, and that's kind of like what started the trajectory of the happiness.
That's so beautiful.
I think so too.
I mean, you folded. You succumbed to the happiness.
Yes.
I
lost my
that.
fight with joy.
Yes.
That's a good way to put it.
Yes.
That's a good way to put it. I'm looking at the time, and I don't, like, I know you have, y'all, when I tell you the way that Alison rides for that Peloton, when I tell you should be on that bike, when I tell you should be on, you would think the bike would just take off through the apartment.
You would think.
You would think. How many miles do you have on that thing?
Oh, let's see.
Look, with the quickness. I bet you.
Let's see.
I'll give you 10 seconds to find it.
Okay,
I bet you go find it.
Hold on. I'm going to the app. I'm going to the app now. Okay,
But the-
everyone.
What?
These are the miles.
These are the-
It's loading. It's loading.
Okay, fine. But the way that Allison rides a bike, it's like a fish with water. Gotta have it.
Oh, I'm 2 rides away from my 500th ride. I'm at 498 right now. Okay, and then for the miles, let's see here.
Do they even track that?
They should, yeah. Oh,
They don't track it.
well, this is like the month. So like,
You rode 60 miles this month?
yeah, and I haven't really been riding. I just got on, like yesterday was my first day getting on.
You got it. I mean, the simple fact that you want to leave this conversation at some point and then go get on a bike.
It's just my self-care.
Now I sound terrible. Thanks.
No.
No, it's so good though. It's admirable. It's absolutely admirable. I think I'm a bit of a grandma, even though I'm young.
You are.
I'm 19. Like I'm a 19-year-old grandma. So like, even though like there's just things about, I guess maybe just even working out at night that just, it's a no. What I will say is I'll go to the gym in the nighttime and it's like a party in myself. I feel like it's a party. There's something about like the music in my head and moving my body that makes me feel like I'm at a club.
Yes, and it's probably the time of day also, or the
Yeah.
time of the evening. But I will say, I want to be like you when I grow up and be a morning gym person. This is something I've always aspired to do because it's so much. There's something about like having your evenings. You know what I mean? Like
Girl, this is nothing to just do with. This is just, first of all, it's natural. Okay, you can't like buy this.
I know.
But when
I
I
know.
tell you I wake up at like 5
I know.
and I'm happy to do it, I wake my alarm clock up.
Listen, this is what I
Okay.
want to do.
So I will have full on days between 5 and 9.
That's crazy.
It is kind of crazy and it's wonderful. And sometimes when I execute, because I call it the sickness. I have to stop. My therapist gives it a different name, but maybe it'll catch on. But like, because I got the sickness, it's hard for me to focus. And so I will have a 5 to 9, but ain't shit getting done. Nothing's getting done.
Okay.
Nothing's getting done. But if I have a productive 5 to 9, I'm like, psh, psh. Girl, don't you know what you're capable of?
Yes.
It sounds kind of wacky because I don't like when people are like, oh, you should get up at 5 for your life to be better. And I'm like, that doesn't work for everybody.
Yeah.
Like, that could never work for you. And you shouldn't force it either.
And I would love for it to. You know, I was having a conversation with one of my friends back home about this. And she was saying that she, like, wants to. She had a few days, like, in 1 week where she woke up at, like, 5 a.m. She worked out. She had her lunch packed for the day. And she felt, like, so accomplished. You know, she was able to jump in her car. She lives in Houston, so she was, like, getting in a car, going to work. She comes back home.
Yeah.
And she can chill. Like, everything's been done for the day.
Yeah.
At, like, 5, 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
That's the type of time I'm trying to be on, but I can't until I establish a better nighttime routine.
I will, but you don't actually, that's my thing. Don't force it, because if you don't actually like getting up in the morning, like, why would you?
The only reason I don't like getting up in the morning is because I'm too sleepy. And because I go to bed too late.
I gotta connect you with Kelly Wood, because she's a sleeper.
I need her to.
She's a sleep agent, for real.
I need to go to bed at 9. You know.
Don't make fun of. Don't do that, because I go to bed at 9.
I know.
Okay.
and so does my other friend. She goes to bed at 9 because, you know, like, she takes edibles. And so they be knocking her out, But like,
I mean, not for nothing. Like that is a practice. Like that's a practice. I mean, if that's what works for her, I am naturally tired.
You're naturally going to bed at 9, and that's what I want to do because the edibles just make me feel so drowsy in the morning.
That part.
Yeah.
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 I want to kind of wrap us up a little bit.
Okay.
Oh, don't sound so sad. You're going to come back on. I think you gave us some really great gems. I really do. I almost don't even want to ask you the next question I'm about to ask. But like, as we wrap up, I want to know if there's anything, like any piece of advice based off of our conversation that we've had thus far that you want to leave people with. It doesn't have to be like amazing. It doesn't have to be anything. But if you know it, say it.
Yeah. Well, I would just say, because, I mean, we're in a dumpster fire right now, right? Like, the world is burning around us. But if people are going through something, if they're, like, not feeling their best, if, like, something's weighing on them, I would just say, like, to please give yourself grace. Like, give yourself grace.
What does that mean?
Easier to say than do. Be kind to yourself.
And what can that look like? And I'm only saying this to really paint the picture of what that can. Because people say give grace, and then it sounds like foo-foo talk.
Yeah.
What does giving grace, what does being kind look like for someone? Example.
Yes. So doing things to take care of yourself in the midst of whatever the quote-unquote struggle is, right? What does that look like? Things that you enjoy. Maybe it's a nap.
Look.
Listen, it could be a nap. It could be a walk. It could be a run. It could be watching your favorite show on television.
Mm-hmm.
It could just be rest. Yep. Like intentional rest. Not necessarily a nap, but like just taking time to allow yourself to rest.
Mm-hmm. And then on the flip side, or even same coin, different side, whatever. If taking care of yourself or being kind to yourself looks like you getting up and doing the dishes,
that
go do the fucking dishes.
Do it.
If it looks like you getting up and like, I don't know, walking that dog or like changing those sheets or calling that person, or that loop that might be on in the head, that little, just you could go for that. Like take a chance. Go for it. Go for it. I really like that. Yeah. Give yourself grace. Thank you. Yes, it fits for all. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. I love you.
I love you so much. And I love your podcast. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.